In my last video, I made a bit of a mishap out of fried chicken. As a result, I set a like goal. If my red beans and rice video got 50 likes, I'd make a video where I dedicated my time to fried chicken. What do you know, you came through. I'm really happy you all liked that video. So, as a result, I'll keep my word and delve into something that I savored throughout the world as a whole: fried chicken. First of all, let's address something. Red beans and rice are pretty regional, at least where I'm from. Gumbo is even more so. You don't really see the stuff outside of the south of the United States, and if you do, it may be a bit muted. I've been building this series up in its identity off of food that I've grown up with, foods that I've eaten all my life, and things that many people around me look forward to. This, however, is going to change for this episode. Don't worry, I'll keep making videos about food I grew up eating, and probably new favorites from cultures far and wide, but today we have to acknowledge a real one. Let's be reasonable for a second. No matter where you go, who you meet, and when you meet them, a large part of the population has had some contact with the chicken. Chicken is frankly a premier source of protein that the world has shaped into its modernization. From the egg, the chicken is used in its totality, and most of the animal can be used in some way. Respectfully, many people have benefited from the creature's hardiness and general purpose, thus leading to a surge of its culinary use throughout the ages. In the modern era, we move quickly and efficiently, and like our food to move accordingly. While you can have beans, broccoli, rice, and peas on your plate, you'd find that a little bit lacking. Once again, the humble and very versatile chicken has caught up with us to ensure gym bros, food lovers, and those who need them most have calories and protein on a slim budget. However, protein, like many things, has to be cooked, and in meat's case, cooked thoroughly. Fried chicken is said to have a few origins, though the United States' take on the crunchy stuff comes from the Scots, as well as the west coast of Africa. Both origins likely mixed upon arriving on the shores of North America, where both cultures already had an understanding of the idea. It goes like this. Spices and salt would adorn both the flour of the meat and the chicken, and the pieces were dunked in hot oil. The oil would create a crust around the floured meat and lock in all the juices. After keeping the oil temperature nice and steady, the now golden chicken would be removed from its bath and served in record time. It would all happen in a couple of minutes, ensuring that those who were hungry could eat a nutrient-rich protein quickly and effectively. As time went on, everything was getting fried by everyone. The entire world essentially knew of this simple technique, and chicken seemed to get the message as much as the potatoes did. It truly was an everyman's meal. But why chicken? Pigs exist everywhere, and so do cows. I think the answer lies in what I said earlier. Chickens are all over the place, small and mighty. They make their own numbers pretty fast too. They were small and could be dispatched pretty fast. What's another couple weeks before we grab another? They were kind of the start of fast food if you think about it. Nowadays we have chicken sandwiches, chicken tenders, chicken nuggets, chicken bites, but we should not only thank our ancestors for their ingenuity, but the chicken as well. We salute you, you T-Rex looking bastard. There are many ways to fry chicken, but growing up, Southern fried chicken was obviously the go-to. Around Louisiana alone, you can go to any rest stop or gas station and they will probably have fried chicken to pack up and accompany you home on that long trip. Hell, I've been to gas stations early in the morning and the chicken is still hot and juicy every time I get some. And while people like to get fancy about their seasonings and types of oil, today we're going to go step by step and make the delicious and soul-fulfilling Southern fried chicken. So to start, as usual, you'll need a couple of things: the chicken, the coating, and the oil. The chicken is self-explanatory. This is what we're frying. You have a lot of options. Bone-in chicken is often cheaper and usually comes with the skin on. This imparts a lot of flavor, a lot of moisture, and ensures the breading actually has something to stick to. You can go boneless too, though this may be a bit more expensive. The meat's processed already and you lose a bit of the meat around the bone too. If you're a busybody, then this will cook faster, but I found a lower margin for error when it comes to overcooking the meat. Next, we'll need a coating. Flour is, of course, on the menu, but you'll need things like salt, pepper, and anything else that will deeply season not only the chicken itself, but the flour you're using too. You'll also need an egg or two, depending on how much chicken you need to coat, but we'll get to that. Finally, oil is also important. Many people swear by many different oils, but I myself like to use corn oil or vegetable oil or canola. You'll need something relatively neutral in flavor and high smoke point. That just means that the oil won't burn at high temperatures. Oils like canola, peanut, corn, vegetable, and grapeseed are great choices. Just remember to check people's allergies before you cook. Now, let's begin. Today we're going to go bones to the wall and use a whole chicken. Did you like that joke? It wasn't funny. I find this yields the best variety and ensures that you'll get at least 8 pieces of fried goodness. If you don't feel comfortable with this, just get pieces of your choice and follow along where you can. We'll start by introducing this bird to a clean kitchen sink where we'll fill the sink with water, vinegar, and limes. What we're doing is scrubbing the chicken down, getting anything unsavory off of her, and even massaging the meat just a bit. While this isn't a necessary step, I'm doing it in my kitchen. We will not have any dirty birds in here. I'm looking at you, Atlanta. Once she's done with the spa day, we'll pat the chicken dry and commence butchering. I want to start by saying be very careful and use a sharp knife or kitchen shears. Start by finding the spine and slicing it at both sides of the spine from front to back. Eventually, you'll be able to pass your knife or shears through the bones of the spine and pull it out. Set it aside and look towards the thighs and legs next. Right here where the leg connects to the carcass is a little seam. Cut through that on both sides and separate the leg from the body. Next, find the joint between the leg and the thigh and cut on through. Set the legs and thighs aside and contend next with the wings. Just like the leg quarter, find the joint connecting the wing to the breast and cut through that. From here, you can slice the flats and the drums should you desire. I've kept mine intact, save for the little pointy ends. Finally, take the breast meat and flip it to where the bone sides down. You'll take your hand and press down on the center of the breast and break apart the sternum. Then it's just a clean cut through the sternum, and you've got 8 pieces of chicken already and butchered. It's been a while since I've done this, but hey, the results should still be pretty good. Now for the marinade. We'll be taking various spices and coating our chicken, so I figured I'll make my own quick seasoning blend. We'll need garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, black pepper, MSG, oregano, chili powder, and for me, gochugaru, or Korean chili flake. Essentially, it just adds a little bit of extra heat. If you don't want spicy chicken, I'd omit this and the chili powder. The key here is to add these components by the teaspoon. Aside from the MSG, alternate each spice and give it a taste. Aside from salt, is it flavorful? Sprinkle a bit on your tongue, and if it needs a little bit more of one spice, add it and taste again. When you're satisfied here, add salt by the teaspoon and taste. You should be left with a magical dust that you can sprinkle on most foods. Today though, we're gonna season our chicken with it. Season the chicken aggressively, making sure every nook and cranny is covered and massaged with the seasoning mix. If you're unsure about how to do this, just shake a bit of seasoning on and give it a good massage. If the seasoning coating is looking thin, add more. You want even coverage as much as possible. When your chicken is looking as well seasoned as my own, you'll want to take it and let it sit for at least 3 hours or ideally overnight. After 24 hours plus a little bit more time, we are ready to begin the cooking process. Grab an egg or two and crack them into the vessel of choice and give your chicken a thorough mix. I'm also going to be adding some hot sauce to boost the spice content and give it a good mix as well. Finally, we'll continue with the coating. This is super simple. We'll be adding self-rising flour, which has baking powder, salt, and a few other components already added. Supposedly, it'll add a little bit of crunch, so why not give it a try? We also have cornstarch, another crispy component. We'll add that to the mix as well in small amounts. We'll start by using around 3 to 3.5 cups of flour and around 3 to 4 tablespoons of cornstarch. I also have my seasoning mix from the day before, and I'll be seasoning the flour as well. If your chicken is feeling a bit bland, I recommend this step since flour has no seasoning or flavor. Except dry. You don't want your chicken to taste dry, do you? I'm adding the seasoning mix until the flour is visibly speckled with the seasoning mix. If you're unsure, just add around 3 or so tablespoons. It's better to underseason than to overseason. Mix your flour in whatever vessel you've assembled it into and drop your chicken in. Be sure to coat all sides. If your chicken has skin, be sure to stretch it out and ensure any folds are also breaded accordingly. I'm using a few plastic bags since I find them easier to manipulate. When your chicken is fully coated, set it aside on sheets of aluminum, being sure to pat any excess flour off. Let the coated chicken sit for around 5 to 10 minutes to ensure the flour adheres to the meat for a good measure. And now we are ready to fry. I have canola oil in a large, heavy pan. You could use a heavy bottom pot or something wide enough to fit the piece of chicken, just be very careful. Oil can and will burn you if it has the chance. Fill your vessel with oil just enough to ensure the meat can be partially submerged, if not fully submerged without getting to the top. Please do not fill this to the top. If it hits the heating element, you'll end up with a fire. Trust me, it's happened here firsthand. Heat the oil on medium heat and wait until you see the oil just shimmering on the surface. You can use a bit of flour to test the oil. If it sizzles, you may begin. We'll begin by putting the chicken in slowly, gently laying it away from yourself. We'll let this go for around 12 to 14 minutes. If you have a more shallow pan like me, turn the chicken around 6 or so minutes in. We're par cooking the chicken to the point where it's just about done. When the crust is just turning golden, we'll take everything out and drain it on either a wire rack or a towel-lined baking tray. Let the chicken sit and drain while we turn the heat up to medium-high. When the oil has regained temperature, gently put the chicken back in for the second time. We're double frying to maximize the crisp crunch we've worked so hard for. Cook until the chicken is looking golden brown and remove to drain for the last time. If you're unsure about your chicken being done, I'll show you a trick I got from another YouTuber. Grab yourself a toothpick and insert it into the thickest part of the flesh. Wait about 3 or 4 seconds before pulling the pick back out and placing it under your tongue. If the toothpick is warm all the way through, the meat is done. If it isn't, congratulations, you've just given yourself salmonella. I'm kidding, by the way, you'll be fine. Oh, and by the way, if your pot or pan isn't big enough, I'd recommend frying in batches. The oil will cool down too much if you throw the whole bird in, so pace yourself. You've been patient and can remain so. I have faith in you. After around 25 minutes of work, my chicken is cooked through and is waiting to be eaten. The skin is crisp and shattering, and my fingers are burning with excitement. Or maybe that's the hot oil. In tasting, I truly am happy. It benefits to let your chicken steep in the seasoning mix for some time. I genuinely prefer this to a buttermilk marinade anytime. The chicken, by the way, is super juicy. Even the chicken breast is insanely tender. Normally I'm not a big fan of the cut, but I tore it apart behind camera afterwards. It was really good. With a bit of time and some attention to your protein, you can really make something better than a restaurant at home every single time. And that's it. Fried chicken is scary if it's your first time making it, but I do believe if you take your time and adapt things to your tastes, you'll be rewarded with something that rivals or surpasses any fast food two-piece. Fried chicken is serious business where I'm from, but sometimes all you want to do is enjoy a meal at home and reward yourself for a job well done. Just try not to burn yourself, okay? And one more thing. Don't be afraid to experiment with the seasoning and spices aspect. I have my personal mix, but you should do whatever makes you happy. Fried chicken is something that exists in all cultures, so spice it up. Or don't. That's okay too. If you like this video, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you try this recipe or just like fried chicken, tell me about it down there too. I have another recipe in the works, and since you guys really like these, I'll keep the series going as long as you all enjoy cooking as much as I do. With that said though, let me head out of here. I have chicken to eat, and I'm sure you might too. I'll see you dogs later.